What do you love about the arts in Melbourne? And I'd like to ask Tasneem Chopra to come up around and give us her talk. So Tasneem is a curator, a consultant and an activist with a strong leaning towards the arts. Tasneem has presented a very popular TEDx Melbourne, and she's curated the Melbourne component of faith, fashion, fusion, an exhibition on now at Melbourne's Immigration Museum, which is celebrating Australian Muslim women's style and identity. So can you please give her a hand?
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you for having me here today. I'm excited about art. I'm excited about art because art to me is a few things, but primarily it's about telling stories. Stories start conversations. Conversations break down stereotypes. So I think there's a conduit and a passageway that we can explore further when we embrace our artistic culture. If you think about what each artistic expression is, whether it's a rooftop cafe or a basement gallery, whether it's the juxtaposition of ancient architecture and modern architecture, whether it's our laneways and our cafes, these are all ultimately someone's personal expression. And I love that we see somebody in something. A very real example of how ownership of space and how appropriation of space, when it's done authentically, is seen in the exhibition that's currently at the Immigration Museum, which I'm very close to, and that's the Faith, Fashion, Fusion exhibition. There are two key components, I think, that make art so successful in Melbourne, and that is first the physical space to realise an artistic expression, and secondly is the professional space to be allowed to manifest that art in a way that's not edited, diluted, or appropriated by the other. So Faith, Fashion, Fusion is an exhibition which I'm very excited about, which is promoting and showcasing Australian Muslim women's style and identity. It's an exhibition that retained a Muslim curator from Melbourne to interview other Muslim women from Melbourne about their experience of fashion in Melbourne and being a Muslim woman in Melbourne. Very authentic, owned, shared, explored, and now being celebrated. This is an example of how things can be done right and be successful. So I'm excited about these spaces that give professional space a chance to flourish. Too often we don't allow personal expression because we have our cultures, we have our voices, we have our images appropriated by others. And when this happens, what you get is a very diluted, perhaps even sanitised version of what culture would be best to look like as opposed to what it is meant to look like. This compromises art, this compromises identity, and this compromises the integrity of the message of what art is all about, which is personal expression. There's an immense gain when young people can look into our artistic spaces, be it buildings, poetry, or music, and see themselves reflected in a way that's honouring where they're from. We have diverse cultures and communities here. We have a myriad of languages and faiths just in the space of Melbourne alone. So when we provide platforms, be it museum spaces, be it galleries, be it festivals, we're not just being respectful of the diversity that is Melbourne's diversity, we're actually paying forward social change for generations to come. So yeah, be excited about art because art tells stories, stories tell conversations, and conversations break down stereotypes. Thank you.